The ship came down like a falling star. Taiho watched it from the window of the mining station, his coffee growing cold in his hands. He had seen ships crash before, but this one was different. It burned too bright, fell too fast, and when it hit the ground 3 kilometers away, the explosion shook the walls around him. He was not supposed to care. He was just a security guard on this dead moon called Vega 7. His job was simple. Watch the miners. Stop fights. Report problems. Nothing more, but something made him grab his rifle and run toward the crash. The walk took him 40 minutes across the rocky ground. The air was thin here, and his breathing mask felt tight against his face. When he reached the crash site, he found fire and death. The ship was Korath. He recognized the design immediately. The Korath were one of the oldest species in the galaxy. They had built empires when humans were still living in caves. They were tall, elegant, and proud. They looked down on humans like adults look down on children. Taiho moved through the wreckage carefully. Bodies lay everywhere. Korath soldiers in golden armor, their purple blood staining the rocks. Someone had attacked this ship. Someone had wanted everyone on board dead. He heard a sound. Small, quiet, like a wounded animal trying to hide. Taiho followed the sound to a pile of bodies. 3 Korath soldiers had fallen together, their arms reaching towards something beneath them. He pushed the bodies aside and found her, a girl. Young, maybe 12 years old by human counting. Her silver hair was covered in dust and blood. Her golden eyes were wide with fear. She wore clothes too fine for a normal person. Silk and jewels and symbols that Taiho did not recognize. She was Korath, but she looked at him like any scared child would. "Please," she whispered in broken common speech. "Please do not hurt me." Taiho lowered his rifle. "I am not going to hurt you. Are you injured?" The girl shook her head. Then she pointed to someone lying nearby. "But he is. Please help him." Taiho found an older Korath male bleeding from a wound in his chest. The male grabbed Taiho's arm with surprising strength. "Human," the male gasped. "You must listen. This child is Princess Yuna, heir to the Korath throne. Assassins attacked our ship. They will come to finish the job. You must protect her." "I am just a security guard," Taiho said. "I am no one. You are the only one left." The male's grip weakened. "Please, I am Ambassador Doran. I have served the crown for 200 years. I am begging you. Save her." The ambassador died with those words on his lips. Taiho stood slowly. He looked at the princess. She was crying now, silent tears running down her dirty face. She had just watched everyone she knew die around her. He thought about walking away. This was not his problem. The Korath had never done anything for humans. They called his people primitive, backward. They said humans spread through the galaxy like insects. But she was just a child. "Can you walk?" he asked. The princess nodded. "Then follow me. Stay close. Do not make noise." They moved away from the crash site just in time. Taiho heard vehicles approaching from the east. He pulled the princess behind a large rock and watched as 3 ground transports arrived at the wreckage. Soldiers climbed out. They were Korath too, but their armor was black instead of gold. They moved through the bodies, checking each one, shooting any survivors they found. "Rebels," the princess whispered. Her voice shook with anger and fear. "They want to destroy my family. They want to start a war. Then, we need to make sure they do not find you." Taiho led her away from the crash site, moving carefully between rocks and craters. The mining station was too obvious. The rebels would search there first. He needed somewhere else. Somewhere they could hide until rescue came. If rescue came, he remembered the old mining tunnels to the north. They had been abandoned years ago when the ore ran out. Dark, Dangerous, but hidden. Where are we going? The princess asked. Somewhere safe. How do you know it will be safe? Taiho looked back at her. She was trying so hard to be brave. Her hands were shaking, but she held her head high like the royal she was. I do not know, he admitted, but I will keep you alive. That is a promise. The princess studied him for a long moment. Why would you help me? You are human. My people have not been kind to yours. You are a child who needs help. That is enough reason. They walked in silence after that. The sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of red and orange. Somewhere behind them, the rebels were searching for a princess they would never find. Taiho did not know what the future held. He did not know if they would survive the night. But he had made a promise, and he intended to keep it. He was human. Keeping promises was what humans did. The princess followed him into the darkness of the abandoned mines, trusting a stranger with her life because she had no other choice. And Taiho walked forward into the unknown, carrying a burden he never asked for but could not put down. This was how it began. A human and a princess. A promise made in blood. And a long night that would change everything. The mining tunnels were dark and cold. Water dripped from the ceiling, and the air smelled like rust and old metal. Taiho turned on his flashlight and led the princess deeper underground. Stay close to the wall, he said. Some of these floors are not stable. Princess Yuna nodded and followed his instructions exactly. She had not complained once since they started walking. She was tired, scared, and probably hungry, but she kept moving forward. Taiho had to respect that they walked for an hour before Taiho found a good place to rest. It was a small room that miners once used for breaks. Old chairs and tables were still there, covered in dust. A broken radio sat in the corner. We will stop here for now, Taiho said. Rest while you can. The princess sat down on one of the chairs. Her golden eyes watched Taiho as he checked the room for other exits. What is your name? She asked. Taiho? Just Taiho? No family name? No title? Just Taiho. I am nobody important. The princess was quiet for a moment. You saved my life. That makes you important to me. Taiho did not know how to answer that, so he said nothing. They heard footsteps in the tunnel. Taiho raised his rifle and pointed it at the entrance. The footsteps stopped. Do not shoot. A voice called out. A woman's voice. Human. I heard you talking. I am not with those soldiers. I am hiding too. Come out slowly, Taiho ordered. Hands where I can see them. A woman stepped into the light. She was young, maybe 30 years old, with short black hair and grease stains on her face. She wore the uniform of a mining engineer. My name is Jisoo, she said. I work in the eastern tunnels. When the ship crashed, those soldiers started killing everyone at the main station. I ran. You are human, the princess said with surprise. Last time I checked, Jisoo replied. Then she noticed the princess's fine clothes and expensive jewelry. Wait, who is this? Why is she dressed like that? She is Princess Yuna, Taiho said. Heir to the Korath Empire. Those soldiers are trying to kill her. Jisoo's face went pale. You are joking. Do I look like I am joking? Jisoo sat down heavily on an old crate. She put her head in her hands. This is bad. This is very bad. If she dies here, the Korath will blame us. They will attack Earth's colonies. Millions of people will die. Then, we make sure she does not die, Taiho said simply. How? Those soldiers have weapons and vehicles, and probably more troops coming. We have 1 rifle and 2 engineers. 1 engineer? Taiho corrected. I was a soldier before I came here. Was? Long story. Taiho checked his rifle's ammunition. Do you know these tunnels? Better than anyone. I have worked here for 5 years. Good. Is there a communications relay anywhere nearby? Jisoo thought about it. There's one on the surface, about 4 kilometers north. It connects to the satellite network. If we can reach it, we can call for help. Then that is our plan. Princess Yuna stood up. Those soldiers will be guarding it. They know we need to call for help. Probably, Taiho agreed. But we have no other choice. They moved through the tunnels for the rest of the night. Jisoo led the way because she knew where the dangerous areas were. Taiho walked behind the princess, always watching, always listening. Twice they heard rebel soldiers above them, searching the surface. Each time they stopped and waited in complete darkness until the sounds went away. During one of these pauses, the princess whispered a question to Taiho. Why do humans fight so hard? My tutors told me that humans are weak. Short lives. Fragile bodies. No natural weapons. But you killed those soldiers at the crash site. I saw the bodies. How did you do that? Taiho was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was soft. Humans learned to fight because we had to. Our homeworld was dangerous. We had no claws, no armor, no venom. So we learned to use our minds. We made weapons. We made traps. We learned to never give up, even when we were losing. But why keep fighting when you are losing? Because sometimes losing is not the end. Sometimes you fight long enough, and things change. Your enemy makes a mistake. Help arrives. The weather shifts. Humans learned that if you survive long enough, anything is possible. The princess considered this. That sounds exhausting. Taiho almost smiled. It is. But it works. They reached the end of the tunnels near dawn. The communications relay was visible on a small hill above them. Just as the princess predicted, rebel soldiers were guarding it. Taiho counted 8 of them. 8 soldiers, Jisoo whispered. We cannot fight 8 soldiers. I will handle the soldiers, Taiho said. You get to the relay and send the distress signal. You will die. Maybe. But she will live. He looked at the princess. When Jisoo tells you to run, you run. Do not look back. Do not stop for anything. Understand? The princess grabbed his arm. You cannot do this. There has to be another way. There is not. Sometimes there is only the hard way. He gently removed her hand. I made a promise to keep you alive. This is me keeping that promise. Taiho checked his rifle one last time. Then he walked toward the relay station alone, a single human against 8 trained killers. Jisoo and the princess watched him go. They did not know if they would ever see him again, but they watched anyway, because watching was all they could do. Taiho moved like a shadow through the rocks. The rebel soldiers did not see him coming. They were looking outward, watching for ships or vehicles. They did not expect a single human to attack them on foot. He killed the first soldier with his knife. Quick and silent. The body fell without a sound. The second soldier turned at the wrong moment and saw Taiho standing over his dead friend. He opened his mouth to shout, but Taiho shot him in the throat before any sound came out. Now the others knew something was wrong. They started shouting in the Korath language. Taiho did not understand the words, but he understood the panic in their voices. Good. Panic made soldiers stupid. He shot 2 more as they ran toward the noise. Then his rifle jammed. Old weapon, bad maintenance. He threw it aside and pulled his knife again. The 5th soldier was bigger than Taiho. Taller, stronger, with natural armor on his skin. He swung a blade at Taiho's head. Taiho ducked and drove his knife into the soldier's knee. The soldier screamed and fell. Taiho finished him quickly. 3 soldiers left. They surrounded him now, moving carefully. One of them was different from the others. His armor was decorated with symbols of rank. Commander Veth, the leader of the assassination squad. A human, Commander Veth said in common speech. One human killed 5 of my soldiers. Impressive. I am not finished yet, Taiho replied. The commander laughed. You are wounded, human. I can smell your blood. You have no weapon except that little knife. My soldiers will kill you in seconds. Then stop talking and try. The 2 regular soldiers attacked first. Taiho moved between them, using their size against them. They were trained to fight in formation, not alone. They got in each other's way. Taiho killed one with his knife to the eye. The other grabbed him from behind. Taiho threw his head back, breaking the soldier's nose. Then spun and cut his throat. Now it was just him and Commander Veth. The commander was better than his soldiers. Faster, smarter. He cut Taiho twice in the first exchange. Blood ran down Taiho's arm and side. You fight well for a primitive species, the commander said. But you are dying. Give up. Tell me where the princess is hiding. I will make your death quick. Taiho did not answer. He attacked instead. The fight was brutal. Taiho took more wounds. A cut on his leg. A deep slash across his back. But he kept moving, kept attacking, kept refusing to fall. Commander Veth grew frustrated. Why will you not die? You are human. You are weak. You should have given up long ago. Humans do not give up, Taiho gasped. We do not know how. He saw his chance. The commander raised his blade for a killing strike. Taiho stepped inside his reach, too close for the blade to hit. He grabbed the commander's head with both hands and twisted. The crack of breaking bone echoed across the rocks. Commander Veth fell dead at Taiho's feet. Taiho stood alone among the bodies. 8 soldiers, all dead. He had one. Then his legs gave out, and he collapsed not far away. Jisoo saw the last soldier fall. She grabbed the princess's hand. Now, run! They ran to the relay station. Jisoo's hands were shaking as she worked the controls. The system was damaged, but still functional. She found the emergency frequency and sent the distress signal. This is Mining Station Vega 7. The Korath Royal Air Princess Yuna is here. She is alive, but in danger. We need immediate rescue. Please respond. She sent the message over and over. Finally, a voice answered. Vega 7, this is the Imperial Flagship Sunrise. We receive your signal. The Queen herself is coming. Hold your position. Jisoo almost cried with relief. They are coming. Help is coming. But Princess Yuna was not listening. She was already running toward Taiho's fallen body. He was lying in a pool of his own blood. His face was pale, and his breathing was shallow. The princess fell to her knees beside him. No, she whispered. You cannot die. You promised you would keep me alive. You did not promise you would die doing it. She remembered her medical lessons. Basic first aid for emergencies. She tore strips from her expensive silk clothes and pressed them against his worst wounds. Hold on, she begged. Just hold on. Help is coming. Taiho's eyes opened slowly. He looked at her and tried to smile. Your Highness, you should not ruin your clothes for me. Be quiet. Save your strength. I am just a human. Not worth royal silk. The princess's eyes filled with tears. You are worth more than all the silk in my kingdom. You saved me. You fought 8 soldiers alone. You kept your promise. Taiho's eyes began to close. Glad you are safe. That is all that matters. Do not sleep. You have to stay awake. I command you to stay awake. But Taiho could not hear her anymore. He fell unconscious, his blood soaking into the ground of a moon far from Earth. Jisoo reached them and helped the princess, dragged Taiho into the relay station. They wrapped him in emergency blankets and kept pressure on his wounds. Outside, they heard the sound of approaching vehicles. More rebels coming to investigate. "We have to hide," Jisoo said. "We cannot move him again. It will kill him. If we stay here, they will kill all of us." The princess looked at Taiho's pale face. She made her decision. "Then we hide him and lead them away. He saved my life. Now I save his." Jisoo stared at her. "Your Highness, that is insane. I am the heir to the Korath Empire. I decide what is insane." They hid Taiho in a storage compartment and walked out to meet the approaching rebels. Two women, one human and one Korath princess, standing in the open like they had nothing to fear. The rebels would follow them. They would lead them away from Taiho. And maybe, if they were lucky, they would survive long enough for rescue to arrive. The sky turned bright as fire. Princess Yuna and Jisoo were running through the rocks. The rebel soldiers closed behind them. They had led the enemy away from Taiho, but now they were trapped. There was nowhere left to run. Then the ships came. Dozens of them. Huge warships that blocked out the stars. They fell from the sky like angry gods, their weapons lighting up the darkness. The rebel soldiers stopped chasing and looked up in fear. The Korath Imperial fleet had arrived. Dropships landed all around them. Golden-armored soldiers poured out, immediately engaging the rebels. The battle was short. The rebels were outnumbered and outmatched. Within minutes, it was over. One ship was different from the others. It was larger, more decorated, with the royal symbol painted on its hull. It landed nearby, and its doors opened. A woman stepped out. She was tall and elegant, with silver hair like the princess and golden eyes that seemed to glow in the dim light. She wore armor that looked like art, beautiful and deadly at the same time. She moved with the confidence of someone who had ruled an empire for centuries. Queen Sujin, ruler of the Korath Empire, the most powerful person in this part of the galaxy. She walked toward her daughter, and for a moment, her face showed something soft, something like relief. Then it became hard again as she looked at the battlefield around them. "Yuna," the queen said, "you are alive, mother." The princess bowed formally, then broke protocol and hugged her mother tightly. "I was so scared, but I survived. Because of him." "Him?" Princess Yuna pulled away and pointed toward the relay station. "A human. He saved me. He killed the assassins. But he is hurt. He is dying. Please, mother, you have to help him." Queen Sujin raised one eyebrow. "A human saved the heir to my throne?" "Yes, his name is Taiho. He's the bravest person I have ever met." The queen turned to her personal guard. "Find this human. Bring him to my medical ship. Use the best doctors. If he dies, everyone responsible will answer to me." The soldiers moved quickly. They found Taiho in the storage compartment, still unconscious, barely breathing. They carried him gently to the medical ship. Queen Sujin watched them go. Then she turned to Jisoo. "You are human as well." Jisoo bowed nervously. "Yes, Your Majesty. My name is Jisoo. I helped the princess escape through the mining tunnels. 2 humans risked their lives for my daughter." The queen's voice was thoughtful. "Interesting. My advisors have always told me that humans are selfish creatures, that they only care about themselves. With respect, Your Majesty, your advisors do not know many humans." A small smile crossed the queen's face. "Perhaps not." She turned to a nearby officer. "See that this woman is treated well. She will be rewarded for her service." The next few hours were chaos. More rebel ships arrived, and the Imperial fleet destroyed them. The Queen's soldiers captured rebel leaders and questioned them. The full story of the assassination plot slowly came out. A powerful noble family had hired the rebels. They wanted Princess Yuna dead so their own children could claim the throne. The queen's anger was cold and terrible. "Execute the traitors," she ordered. "Burn their houses. Erase their names from history. No one threatens my heir and lives." Through all of this, Taiho lay unconscious in the medical ship. The doctors worked desperately to save him. He had lost too much blood. His wounds were infected. By all medical logic, he should have been dead already, but his heart kept beating. Princess Yuna stayed by his bed, refusing to leave. Her mother visited several times, watching the unconscious human with an expression no one could read. "The doctors say he should not be alive," the queen said during one visit. "He lost enough blood to kill 3 Korath. His wounds would have stopped any normal soldier. Yet he is still fighting. He told me humans do not know how to give up," the princess said softly. It seems he was telling the truth. On the 3rd day, Taiho opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was a white ceiling. The second thing he saw was the princess's face, looking down at him with joy and tears. "You are awake," she said. "You are alive. I knew you would survive." "I knew it." Taiho tried to speak, but his throat was dry. Someone gave him water. "Where am I?" he managed to ask. "On my mother's flagship." "You have been unconscious for 3 days. The doctors said it was impossible, but you survived." Taiho tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Pain shot through his entire body. He fell back against the bed. "Do not move," the princess said. "You need to rest. You need to heal. The rebels? Dead. My mother destroyed them all. The assassination plot is finished. I am safe because of you." Taiho closed his eyes. "Good. That is good." He slept again, but this time it was peaceful sleep. Healing sleep. His body finally beginning to repair itself. Outside the medical bay, Queen Sujin stood alone. General Hyuk, commander of her personal guard, approached carefully. "Your Majesty, what will you do with the human?" "I have not decided yet. He is a hero, but he is also human. If you reward him too greatly, the noble families will protest. They will say you have forgotten your duty to your own people." Queen Sujin turned to face him. Her eyes were cold. "That human did what none of my people could do. He protected my daughter with his bare hands. He killed 17 trained assassins. He nearly died for someone he owed nothing to. I know, Your Majesty. But tradition says that humans are beneath us. They are a young species, uncivilized, weak. The queen's voice was sharp. "I have ruled this empire for 400 years. I have seen entire civilizations rise and fall. And in all that time, I have never seen anything like what that human did." She looked through the window at Taiho's sleeping form. Perhaps it is time to change what tradition says. 3 months passed. Taiho healed slowly in the finest medical facility in the Korath Empire. The doctors were amazed at how quickly his human body repaired itself. What should have taken a year took only months. During this time, he received many visitors. Princess Yuna came every week, bringing him books and stories and news from the palace. Jisoo came too, laughing about how she had gone from mining engineer to honored guest of the empire. But the queen never came. Taiho was not surprised. He was nobody, a human mercenary who had been in the right place at the right time. Once he was healed, they would give him some money, pat him on the head, and send him back to human space. That was fine. That was what he expected. Then the summons came. He was told to dress in formal clothes. He was told to come to the great throne room of the imperial palace. He was told that the entire court would be present. "What is happening?" he asked Jisoo, who had come to escort him. She shrugged, but there was a strange look in her eyes. "I do not know, honestly, but I think something big. The throne room was enormous. Tall pillars reached up to a ceiling painted with stars. Thousands of Koreith nobles filled the hall, their clothes bright with colors and jewels. They all turned to look as Taiho entered. He had never felt so small in his life. He walked the long path to the throne, feeling every eye on him. Whispers followed him. He heard words like human and primitive and insult. He kept his head up and kept walking. Queen Sujin sat on a throne made of crystal and gold. Princess Yuna stood beside her, wearing a formal gown that made her look older than her years. They both watched him approach. Taiho stopped at the proper distance and bowed. He did not know Koreith customs well, but he knew that much. Taiho of Earth, the queen said. Her voice echoed through the silent hall. You stand before the throne of the Koreith Empire. Do you know why you are here? No, your majesty. 3 months ago, my daughter's ship was attacked. Her guards were killed. She was hunted by assassins who wanted to end her life and destroy our royal line. The queen's voice was calm, but there was steel beneath it. You found her. You protected her. You killed her enemies with your bare hands. You nearly died doing so. I did what anyone would have done, your majesty. No, you did what no one else could do. What no one else would do. The queen stood from her throne. The entire court gasped. Queens did not stand for anyone. She walked down the steps toward Taiho. Each step made the nobles whisper louder. This was unprecedented. This was impossible. She stopped directly in front of him, close enough that he could see the gold flecks in her eyes. In ancient times, she said, before the Koreith Empire spread to the stars, there was a tradition. When someone saved a member of the royal family, when they gave everything to protect royal blood, they could be claimed by the crown. They would become part of the royal household forever, bound to serve the crown, and bound to be served by it in return. The throne room was completely silent now. This tradition has not been used in 3,000 years. Many thought it was forgotten, but I remember, and I choose to invoke it now. She reached out and placed her hand on Taiho's shoulder. Taiho of Earth, I claim you. You belong to the crown now. You belong to me. And in return, the crown belongs to you. All that we are, all that we have, is yours to call upon. This is the ancient bond. This is my word. The court exploded in noise. Nobles shouted in protest. Some cried out that this was an insult to Koreith honor. Others demanded that the queen reconsider. Queen Sujin turned to face them, and her voice cut through the chaos like a blade. Silence. Everyone stopped. This human did what none of you could do. He fought without hope of reward. He bled without promise of glory. He asked for nothing in return. If that is not worthy of our highest honor, then we have forgotten what honor means. She looked around the room, meeting the eyes of every noble who had protested. Does anyone challenge my decision? No one spoke. Good. Princess Yuna ran forward and threw her arms around Taiho. She was crying and laughing at the same time. I told Mother everything, she said. Every detail. Every moment. I told her how brave you were. How you never gave up. How you kept your promise. Taiho did not know what to say. His whole world had changed in a moment. Your Majesty, he finally managed. I do not understand. I am just a human. I am nobody. Queen Sujin looked at him with something like warmth. You were nobody. Now you are the sworn shield of the princess. The first human to hold rank in the Koreith Empire. My daughter's protector and a member of my own household. She paused. Is that acceptable to you? Taiho looked at the princess, who was still holding on to him like he might disappear. He looked at Jisoo in the crowd, who was wiping tears from her eyes. He looked at the queen, who had just broken 3,000 years of tradition for him. Yes, he said quietly. That is acceptable. 1 year later, Taiho stood in the palace garden, watching the princess practice her sword fighting. He was her official guardian now, a sworn shield. Where she went, he went. A young Kara soldier approached him nervously. Sir, may I ask you a question? Taiho nodded. How did humans become so strong? Your species is so young. You have only been in space for a few centuries. But everyone in the galaxy is starting to talk about you. They say humans are dangerous. They say humans never give up. How is that possible? Taiho watched the princess land a perfect strike against her training opponent. We never had anyone to save us, he said. So we learned to save ourselves. And then we learned to save everyone else too. The soldier considered this. That sounds lonely. It was. But not anymore. The princess noticed him watching and waved. He waved back. He had come to this place as a nobody. A human with nothing but a gun and a sense of duty. Now he had a home. A purpose. A family. The galaxy was vast and strange and often cruel. But sometimes, if you were brave enough and stubborn enough, you could find exactly where you belonged. Taiho had found his place, and he would protect it with his life. Just as he had protected her. That was what humans did. That was who he was. The end.